Modern Harleys keep getting more expensive, more complicated, and somehow less memorable. Meanwhile, a bunch of forgotten 90s bikes with Evolution motors are still starting every morning, still crossing state lines and still costing less than a used commuter car. Some of these old Harleys have outlived marriages, dealerships, and even the riders who bought them new. And one bike near the top of this list, owners still call it the last Harley that felt truly mechanical. Let's get into it. Number 15, Harley-Davidson Sportster 883. If one motorcycle refused to disappear when the industry went digital, it was the Harley-Davidson Sportster 883. Small by Harley standards and rough around the edges, this cruiser survived because it delivered something modern machines often miss: character. While newer bikes rely on touchscreens, riding modes, and layers of electronics, the old Evolution V-twin feels unapologetically mechanical. At stoplights, it shakes, vibrates through the bars, and constantly reminds riders that real metal is moving beneath them. The air-cooled engine earned a reputation for durability, thanks to its simple design and stubborn reliability. Many owners pushed these motorcycles to enormous mileage with little more than routine oil changes, fresh spark plugs, and occasional clutch repairs. Problems like rocker box leaks, worn charging systems, and aging carburetors still appear, but repairs remain affordable compared with modern electronic heavy cruisers. Back in the late 1990s, a brand new Sportster 883 cost roughly $5,500. Today, clean used examples can still be found between $2,500 and $5,000, making it one of the cheapest ways into real Harley ownership. What truly aged best was the feeling. The narrow chassis still feels light, confident, and honest, giving riders a raw connection that helped make Harley-Davidson legendary for generations. That enduring simplicity still attracts beginners, veteran riders, and custom builders alike, proving the Sportster never needed sophistication to earn loyalty, respect, and lasting American road presence. If these old-school Harleys are your kind of motorcycle, don't forget to subscribe. That support keeps this channel focused on the bikes riders actually trust, not just the ones manufacturers keep trying to sell us. And as this countdown continues, you'll notice a dangerous pattern emerging for modern Harley-Davidson. The older these bikes get, the more riders seem to trust them. Number 14, Harley-Davidson Dyna Glide. If the Sportster was Harley's street brawler, the Dyna Glide became the blue-collar highway machine riders trusted for the long haul. Tough, simple, and just refined enough to cruise all day without beating you up. For many longtime Harley owners, this was the last Harley that truly balanced old-school soul with real-world comfort. During the Evolution era, the Dyna introduced rubber-mounted V-twin S that softened highway vibration without killing the motorcycle's personality. You still felt the pulse at idle. You still heard the mechanical rhythm beneath you. But now the bike felt steadier at speed, more planted, more confident across long American highways. Back in the mid-1990s, a Dyna Low Rider cost roughly $11,000 to $12,000 new. Today, clean Evolution-era Dynas usually sell between $4,500 and $8,500. Meanwhile, a modern Low Rider S pushes close to $20,000 before upgrades even begin. And that price gap matters, because many riders still prefer the old Dyna's raw mechanical honesty over modern electronics, heavy Harleys. No endless rider modes, no oversized screens, just steel, torque, and an Evolution engine famous for surviving enormous mileage with proper maintenance. Buyers should still inspect charging systems, worn rubber mounts, oil seepage, and neglected carburetors. But repairs remain straightforward, affordable, and home garage friendly. Parts are everywhere, from suspension kits to tanks and exhaust systems. What aged best is the feel. The Dyna communicates with the rider. The chassis feels connected. The throttle feels immediate. Nothing about it feels artificial. But balance is not what every rider wants. Some riders don't just want a motorcycle that works well, they want one that looks timeless parked outside a diner at midnight. That desire for pure old-school Harley silhouette is exactly where the next chapter begins, with a machine that brought rigid bike attitude into the Evolution era without punishing the rider for it. Number 13, Harley-Davidson Softail Custom. During the 1990s, this machine helped pull Harley-Davidson out of its troubled years and back into the center of American motorcycle culture. It looked like a rigid frame classic from decades earlier, but hidden beneath all that chrome and attitude was a motorcycle ordinary riders could actually live with. That hidden rear suspension changed everything. The Softail Custom delivered the stretched-out hardtail look riders worshipped without punishing their backs on every mile of broken pavement. And paired with Harley's Evolution V Twin, the result felt unmistakably American. Low, relaxed, mechanical, and full of personality. Back in the mid-1990s, these bikes sold for roughly $13,000 new. Today, clean Evolution-era Softail Customs usually trade between $5 and $9 grand, less than half the price of many modern Softails, loaded with electronics and dealer markups. And that simplicity is exactly why these motorcycles age so gracefully. No giant screens, no complicated rider aids, no layers of software separating the rider from the machine. Just air cooling, carburetors, and old-school Harley torque that pulls hard right off idle. Repairs stay manageable too. Buyers should inspect rocker box leaks, tired starter components, worn bushings, charging systems, and neglected fuel lines. But most fixes remain affordable compared to modern Harley diagnostics. What still captures riders today is the presence, the low stance, the deep exhaust note, the feeling that the motorcycle has an actual heartbeat beneath the tank. For collectors, cruisers, older riders, and custom builders alike, the Softail Custom still delivers something modern motorcycles often struggle to recreate: authenticity. The Softail Custom was one of those bikes that made people loyal to Harley for life. So now I'm curious, what's the one older Harley you still think nailed the formula better than modern bikes? Leave a comment below, because half the fun of these motorcycles is hearing the stories attached to them. But while the Softail mastered classic Harley style, the next motorcycle on this list became something even more important for the company: a true long-distance highway machine that finally proved Harley-Davidson could build a real American tourer. Number 12, Harley-Davidson Road King. Before touring motorcycles became rolling computers, the Harley-Davidson Road King mastered a far simpler mission: carry riders across America with comfort, torque, and absolute highway presence. And somehow, decades later, these old Evolution-era machines still feel more human than many modern luxury tours. When the Road King arrived in the 1990s, Harley finally struck a balance riders had wanted for years: big highway comfort without drowning the motorcycle in unnecessary complexity. You got hard saddlebags, relaxed ergonomics, a detachable windshield, and an Evolution V Twin that transformed Harley's reputation for reliability. Back in 1996, a Road King sold for roughly $16,000 new. Today, clean examples usually land between $5,500 and $9,500. Meanwhile, a modern Road King Special pushes well beyond 24 grand before accessories even enter the conversation. And many riders still prefer the old bike. The Evo Road King communicates constantly. The engine pulses beneath you. The bars carry a deep mechanical rhythm. The motorcycle feels connected to the road instead of electronically filtered away from it. Maintenance stays refreshingly straightforward. Carburetors are easy to tune. Parts remain everywhere, and most repairs can still be handled in a home garage. Buyers should inspect charging systems, worn suspension components, leaking gaskets, and tired rubber mounts, especially on high-mileage touring bikes. What aged best is the purpose. The Road King still feels built for real American highways. Steady, comfortable, and endlessly relaxed mile after mile. But not every rider dreams about windshields and luggage. Some want a Harley that feels heavier, bolder, almost larger than life the second it rolls into view. And during the Evolution era, no machine captured that heavyweight presence better than the next bike stepping into the spotlight. Number 11, Harley-Davidson Fat Boy. By the middle of the 1990s, Harley-Davidson was finally dragging itself out of years of uncertainty. Japanese motorcycles had dominated the reliability conversation for decades. Sport bikes were getting faster, touring bikes were becoming smoother, and many riders quietly believed Harley was falling behind. Its air-cooled Evolution V Twin earned enormous respect for surviving brutal mileage with surprisingly little drama. Oil changes, basic carburetor maintenance, occasional gasket work, and the thing just kept going. Riders loved the raw throttle feel, the mechanical pulse at idle, and the sense that every combustion stroke traveled straight through the handlebars into your chest. Modern Fat Boys are unquestionably faster. Better brakes, better suspension, rider modes, traction control, massive Milwaukee 8 torque, but they also feel more distant, more filtered, more computerized. The old Fat Boy feels mechanical in the purest possible way. It shakes at stoplights. It growls through the gears. It feels imperfect, heavy, and deeply human. And for many longtime Harley riders, that emotional connection matters more than spec sheets ever will. Of course, age still matters. Buyers should inspect rocker box leaks, charging systems, starter clutches, aging intake seals, and neglected carburetors sitting too long in garages. But compared to modern electronic troubleshooting, these are straightforward fixes. Parts remain everywhere. Aftermarket support is gigantic, and customization options are practically endless. The Fat Boy didn't become legendary because of spec sheets. It became legendary because riders remembered it years after the ride was over. So if this countdown is hitting that same nerve for you, throw a hype down below. That tells us these older Harleys still matter more than the newest showroom releases. But for riders who actually plan to spend all day in the saddle, muscle alone wasn't enough. They wanted nostalgia, comfort, storage, and old American road trip character all wrapped into one package. That demand is exactly what carried attention toward the next Harley in the lineup, a machine that felt like it came straight out of Route 66. Number 10, Harley-Davidson Heritage Softail Classic. Before Harley-Davidson touring bikes became rolling luxury suites packed with screens, buttons, sensors, and software updates, there was the Heritage Softail Classic. And this motorcycle understood something modern manufacturers constantly forget. Riding is supposed to feel personal. By the 1990s, Harley-Davidson finally realized riders were not chasing lap times or futuristic technology. They wanted memory, atmosphere, presence, and the Heritage Softail Classic delivered all of it in one long chrome-covered silhouette. White wall tires, leather saddlebags, floorboards, studded seats, full fenders, a massive windshield. Everything about this motorcycle felt like old American highway culture brought back to life. But underneath all that nostalgia sat the Evolution engine, one of the smartest things Harley-Davidson ever built. Cooler running, sturdier, and dramatically more dependable than earlier Harley motors, the Evo transformed the Heritage into a true long-distance machine. Plenty of owners pushed these bikes deep into six-figure mileage with little more than fluid changes, gasket replacements, and basic upkeep. And compared to the modern Heritage Classic, the difference feels almost philosophical. Today's version is unquestionably smoother, better brakes, better electronics, more refinement. But many veteran Harley riders quietly admit something important. The old bike had more soul. The Evolution Heritage does not isolate you from the motorcycle. It lets you feel the idle through the seat, feel the engine breathing beneath the tank, feel the road moving underneath the frame. Nothing feels overly filtered or sanitized. Of course, buyers should still inspect rocker box leaks, charging systems, worn starter components, and aging suspension hardware. Older leather trim can also deteriorate after decades of storage. Thankfully, replacement parts remain incredibly easy to find, and most repairs stay manageable for home mechanics. But underneath all that comfort and nostalgia, some riders still wanted sharper reflexes, something tighter, more responsive, more connected to the pavement when the road started twisting. That craving for performance completely changed Harley culture in the 90s. And it's exactly why the next machine developed one of the most loyal followings Harley-Davidson has ever seen. Number 9, Harley-Davidson FXR. Some motorcycles become classics. The Harley-Davidson FXR became an obsession. Decades after it disappeared from showrooms, riders still argue that this was the finest handling big twin Harley ever built. What made it special was the combination. The Evolution V-twin delivered dependable power, while the rubber-mounted chassis gave the bike a level of composure that surprised riders accustomed to traditional cruisers. It felt planted, responsive, and remarkably confidence-inspiring for a Harley of its era. Modern Harleys may offer ride modes, giant screens, and layers of electronics, but the FXR offers something many enthusiasts value more: connection, no distractions, no digital filters, just rider, road, and machine. Buyers should inspect engine mounts, charging components, wiring, and signs of neglected upkeep. Thankfully, parts remain widely available through both factory and aftermarket sources. Back in the 1990s, a new FXR typically cost between roughly $8,500 and $11,000. Today, clean examples often sell between $6,000 and $12,000, making them one of the smartest buys in the Harley world. But aggressive handling is only part of the equation once the trip stops being a weekend blast and turns into a 1,000-mile haul. At that point, riders began searching for something built less like a performance toy and more like a two-wheeled interstate locomotive. And that evolution in purpose brings us directly to the next machine. Number 8, Harley-Davidson Electra Glide Standard. If your idea of a perfect motorcycle involves fewer menace and more miles, the Harley-Davidson Electra Glide Standard deserves your attention. This was Harley's long-distance road warrior before touring motorcycles became rolling computers. What made it special wasn't flashy technology, it was the formula: a dependable evolution, V-twin, a roomy riding position, hard saddlebags, and that iconic bat-wing fairing that could turn an all-day ride into something surprisingly effortless. It was built to cross states, not impress people in a dealership showroom. And that's exactly why so many experienced riders still admire it today. Modern touring Harleys offer giant screens, electronic rider aids, connectivity systems, and endless settings. The Electra Glide Standard offers something much simpler: a direct connection between rider and machine. Twist the throttle, point it toward the horizon, and go. Buyers should inspect charging components, fork seals, starter systems, aging wiring, and evidence of consistent maintenance. Fortunately, parts remain abundant, and nearly every common issue is well understood by the Harley community. Back in the 1990s, a new Electra Glide Standard carried a sticker price of roughly $12,000. Today, clean Evolution-powered examples can often be found between $4,000 and $8,000. That's remarkable value for a motorcycle still capable of genuine cross-country travel. Owners consistently praise the same qualities: comfort, durability, and mechanical simplicity. The fairing still works, the chassis still feels steady on the interstate, and the Evolution engine keeps earning trust mile after mile. But if the Electra Glide was designed to conquer distance with quiet confidence, our next motorcycle took a completely different approach, earning its reputation not through practicality, but through pure Harley-Davidson presence. Number 7. Harley-Davidson Wide Glide. Some motorcycles are built to follow trends. The Harley-Davidson Wide Glide helped create them. Back in the 1990s, this was Harley's factory. Custom, long front forks, forward controls, a stretched-out profile, and enough attitude to look custom-built straight off the showroom floor. It captured the rebellious spirit of American choppers without forcing owners to spend years modifying a motorcycle. At its heart sat the legendary Evolution V-twin, an engine that earned respect for its durability, strong low-end pull, and straightforward maintenance. Many owners discovered these bikes could rack up enormous mileage while remaining surprisingly easy to keep running. Buyers should still inspect charging systems, steering head bearings, intake leaks, and signs of questionable custom work. Fortunately, replacement parts remain everywhere, thanks to Harley's massive aftermarket support. The value is where things get interesting. New examples originally sold for roughly $10,000 to $13,000. Today, clean Evolution era-wide glides typically trade between $5,000 and $9,000, while many modern Harley cruisers cost well over $20,000. But what keeps riders loyal isn't the price, it's the feeling. The Wide Glide still delivers the raw personality, unmistakable presence, and road-going charisma that many believe modern motorcycles have polished away. Still, once the novelty of the chopper stance wore off, some owners started wanting a machine that didn't just look aggressive, they wanted one that actually felt sharper and more planted every time the road tightened up. That demand for a tougher all-around rider is what pushed attention toward the next Harley, a machine that blended classic V-twin muscle with a far more serious riding attitude. Number 6. Harley-Davidson Low Rider. The Harley-Davidson Low Rider seemed to excel at almost everything. While other Harleys chased luxury, chrome, or attention, the Low Rider focused on something far more important: making riders want to throw a leg over it every single day. And that decision turned it into one of the most respected motorcycles of the Evolution era. Powered by Harley's legendary Evolution V-twin, the Low Rider delivered strong torque, comfortable ergonomics, predictable handling, and enough personality to make every ride memorable. It looked unmistakably Harley, yet remained practical enough for commuting, weekend cruising, or long highway days. Buyers should inspect clutch wear, wheel bearings, charging systems, intake seals, and signs of neglected maintenance. Fortunately, parts remain plentiful, affordable, and easy to source decades later. The value is almost shocking. Back in the 1990s, a new lowrider typically sold for around $10,000 to $12,000. Today, clean Evolution era examples often sell between $5,000 and $9,000, while modern lowrider models can easily exceed $20,000. What aged best is the balance. The lowrider does everything well without feeling complicated. And honestly, finding the Harleys that still deserve their reputation after 30 years is not easy anymore. That's why we put serious effort into making these deep motorcycle breakdowns as honest and useful as possible. So if you want to support the channel, help us keep making more videos like this and get early access to upcoming motorcycle uploads. Become a member and join the small group helping keep these long-form guides alive. And if this Harley mastered versatility, the next motorcycle mastered endurance. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Road Glide. When the first Road Glide arrived during the late evolution era, few riders realized they were witnessing the beginning of what would become Harley's most celebrated touring platform. Its secret was the distinctive shark nose fairing. Mounted directly to the frame rather than the handlebars, it delivered a planted, confidence-inspiring feel on the open highway that immediately won over serious long-distance riders. What makes the original version especially special is that it was the only Road Glide ever paired with the Evolution engine. That combination created a motorcycle with genuine touring capability and old-school mechanical simplicity. Buyers should inspect charging components, intake seals, engine mounts, fork seals, and service history. Thankfully, parts remain widely available and owner support is outstanding. Back when it was new, a Road Glide typically carried a price tag around $16,500. Today, clean examples often trade between $6,000 and $10,000, making them one of the smartest touring bargains Harley ever produced. But for some Harley owners, practicality was never the whole point. They wanted a machine that felt closer to rolling artwork, something with unmistakable old-world character, the second it appeared at a stoplight. And during the 90s, no Harley leaned harder into vintage Americana than the next machine waiting in the shadows. Number 4, Harley-Davidson Springer Softail. Before the engine even fires, people stop, stare, and walk closer. That's the magic of this machine. It doesn't rely on horsepower figures or electronic wizardry. It wins people over with presence. What made the Springer Softail unforgettable was its unmistakable Springer front end, a design that looked as if it had rolled straight out of Harley-Davidson's golden years. Paired with flowing fenders, deep chrome, and the clean lines of the Softail frame, it delivered a level of visual character that modern cruisers still struggle to match. Yet beneath that vintage personality sat one of Harley's greatest achievements, the Evolution V-Twin. Smooth, dependable, and remarkably long-lived, it gave riders classic looks without classic reliability headaches. Buyers should pay close attention to Springer hardware, steering bearings, charging components, oil seepage, and maintenance records. Thankfully, support remains strong, with both engine and chassis parts still widely available. Back in the 1990s, a Springer Softail typically carried a sticker price between roughly $14,000 and $18,000. Today, clean examples often change hands between $8,000 and $15,000, while exceptional motorcycles continue attracting serious collector interest. What has aged best isn't just the styling, it's the feeling. The motorcycle still feels special every time it leaves the garage, something many modern bikes lose after the novelty wears off. And that's exactly why longtime owners rarely describe the Springer Softail as transportation. They describe it as an experience. But once the ride stretched beyond short cruises and weekend meetups, many owners started craving the one thing retro customs rarely excelled at: true long-distance comfort for endless hours on the road. And that exact compromise is what opened the door for the next machine, Harley's fully loaded Highway King, before luxury touring became digitalized. Number 3, Harley-Davidson Ultra Classic Electra Glide. Before touchscreens, Bluetooth, and endless rider settings took over touring motorcycles, Harley-Davidson built a machine that earned its reputation the old-fashioned way by crossing America again and again without quitting. That machine was the Ultra Classic Electra Glide. During the Evolution era, this was Harley's flagship touring motorcycle. Built for riders who measured trips in states rather than miles, it delivered comfort, weather protection, luggage capacity, and highway stability that few motorcycles of its time could match. The large fairing sliced through the wind, the passenger accommodations were genuinely comfortable, and the huge storage capacity made long adventures feel effortless. But the real hero was the Evolution V-Twin. By the 1990s, Harley had refined this engine into one of the most respected power plants in company history. Properly maintained examples routinely accumulated staggering mileage, earning a reputation for durability that still follows them today. Of course, buyers should inspect charging systems, starter components, fork seals, intake leaks, and aging fuel system parts. But compared to modern luxury tourers packed with electronics, Ownership remains refreshingly straightforward. And then there's the value. Back in the 1990s, an ultra classic typically cost between $15,000 and $18,000 new. Today, clean evolution-powered examples often sell between $5,500 and $10,000. Meanwhile, modern ultra models can easily climb past $30,000 before accessories. What aged best is the purpose. The comfort still works. The luggage still swallows gear. The styling still commands respect. And the motorcycle still feels built for the open road, rather than a software update. Ask longtime owners why they keep theirs, and the answer is usually simple: it just keeps going. But for some riders, all that comfort and luggage softened the experience too much. They wanted something darker, rarer, and far more rebellious. A Harley that looked like it belonged outside a back alley blues bar instead of a luxury hotel. That shift in attitude points directly toward the next machine in the countdown. Number 2, Harley-Davidson Softail Springer Bad Boy. The Harley-Davidson Softail Springer Bad Boy became something much rarer, unforgettable. Even among Harley's legendary 1990s lineup, the Bad Boy stood apart. Dark, aggressive, stripped of excess chrome, built with an attitude that felt more outlaw than showroom. One glance at that unmistakable Springer front end, and you knew this wasn't a motorcycle trying to please everyone. Underneath the attitude lived Harley's trusted evolution V-twin, an engine famous for its durability, simplicity, and old-school mechanical character. No ride modes, no electronic interference, just a direct connection between rider, throttle, and road. Buyers should pay close attention to Springer front wear, rocker bushings, steering head bearings, oil leaks, charging systems, and carburetor condition. Thankfully, evolution parts remain widely available, making ownership far less intimidating than many collectible motorcycles. What surprises people most is the value. When new, the Bad Boy typically sold for roughly $14,000 to $16,000. Today, clean examples often bring between $10,000 and $18,000. Yet many enthusiasts still see them as bargains compared to modern premium Harleys, costing well beyond $25,000. But even that machine wasn't the final expression of what made cheap Evolution-era Harleys so special. Because at the heart of this entire decade was one motorcycle that captured the formula better than anything else: simplicity, customization, mechanical honesty, and the kind of rider connection modern bikes keep engineering away. And that brings us to the next and final machine on this list. Number 1, Harley-Davidson FXSTC Softail Custom. After everything we've covered, one motorcycle rises above the rest, not because it's the fastest, not because it's the rarest, but because it captures the very heart of what made the Evolution era so special. The Harley-Davidson FXSTC Softail Custom is the motorcycle many riders picture when they hear the word Harley. Long front end, timeless proportions, hidden rear suspension, and at its center, the legendary Evolution V-twin that helped rebuild Harley-Davidson's reputation for durability. Unlike many modern cruisers loaded with electronics, the SSTC keeps the experience beautifully simple. No screens, no riding modes, no digital distractions, just the unmistakable rhythm of an air-cooled V-twin in an open road ahead. Buyers should inspect charging components, clutch wear, intake seals, wheel bearings, and service history. Thankfully, parts support remains exceptional, making ownership surprisingly straightforward even today. Back in the 1990s, a new SSTC typically sold for between $11,000 and $14,000. Today, clean examples can often be found between $6,000 and $12,000, making them one of the best values in the Harley world. And when longtime owners talk about the STC, they rarely mention horsepower. Instead, they say something far more revealing. It's the Harley they never should have sold. That's why it earns the top spot, because modern motorcycles may offer more technology, but few deliver this much soul. Funny thing is, most of these bikes were never supposed to age this well. But decades later, they're still running, still getting customized, and still making modern bikes feel a little overcomplicated. The next video keeps the ride going with more motorcycles that earn their reputation the hard way. Click the next video, subscribe to the channel, become a member if you want early access, and don't forget to like the video before you head out.